right, the time has come. We've been talking about it for about 2 weeks now. You've had plenty of time, so if you've waited this long, shame on you. But also, I procrastinate. I'm going through the studying right now to get my teaching license, so I'm going to have to deal with procrastination. I'm not mad. I am a little disappointed, but you still have time if you're listening to this Wednesday morning to go sign up for the FEOTB March Madness Bracket Challenge in 2022. The winner is going to get a $150 Visa gift card. You must be following all of our social media pages, plus subscribe to our YouTube channel to win that $150 Visa gift card. That is on the line. And you're competing against your fellow benchwarmers. It's a nice way. We did it last year where you could submit as many brackets as possible. We don't have as many submissions this season, obviously, because it's just one bracket per person. But we have a lot more on the line. And when you are able to win and we can call you king of the benchwarmers, I guess, or at least March Madness king of the benchwarmers, it'll be fun. So be sure to sign up if you haven't already. There's still time. And then if you're watching the video of this on YouTube, you're already going to know if I'm a genius or if I'm a dumbass. And I think there's equal opportunity for it to go both ways, because when I was filling my bracket, I remembered, oh yeah, all this NFL news the last few weeks, I've not done any of my research in college basketball. To be fair, I haven't done any of my normal research that I do for college wrestling either, and that's coming up here soon for March Madness, but this is like, I am going in completely blind. So I'm normally pretty decent at this thing. I won it the first 2 years that we did it for back at Western for KWSB 91.1 FM. I won it, or I was close to winning it. I think I won it last season, or at least finished above Nico. Basically, I'm going to finish above Nico. I don't want to win my own competition. Nico and I aren't eligible to win the $150, even though I just like to give myself $150 extra. But if you need the extra money, it's a great way. It's a fun competition to get in and get signed up. So it's pinned to our Twitter feed at FEOTBpod. It's in our Instagram bio. And like I said, you're going to have to follow us on all of our social medias. That includes our TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win that $150 Visa gift card. So let's get into these predictions. We had Selection Sunday. We have the brackets set. So let's go through here and see the matchups. And we'll start in the West region. Gonzaga taking on the 16th seed Georgia State. I picked the Bulldogs to win that one. Gonzaga still coming in as a number 1 seed, even though they had that late season loss to St. Mary's. It's difficult because you have the teams that disappoint one season and then bounce right back. But Gonzaga hasn't been a team that's been in the Final Four. Like last season was their first shot to win a national championship under few. So Gonzaga, I think, is going to win this game. But I don't have a lot of confidence in Gonzaga moving forward like I did last season. The 8-9 in the West matchup is Boise State going up against Memphis. Boise coming out of the Mountain West, second in the Mountain West, and Memphis out of the All-American. I'm going with the Broncos because I like the I like to root for the Mountain West when I have no vested interest in the sport. Next up, UConn, the 5, going up against the New Mexico State number 12 seed. And I went with the Huskies in that matchup because I think that they've been in this situation a little bit more. New Mexico State, another Mountain West team. I just don't think that they've had quite the gauntlet of a record that they would have had to go through. Arkansas versus Vermont is the next one. The Catamounts versus the Razorbacks. I'm going Roll Hogs, the Must Bus, all aboard the Must Bus. SEC basketball is a lot better than it had been. It used to just be Kentucky, and that was pretty much it. Now Arkansas is a team that they were ranked in the top 5 at portions of the season, and anybody can get hot. That was proven last season with UCLA. Arkansas could be one of those scary teams. I think they get past Vermont easy. The 6-11 matchup, Alabama's going to play the winner of Rutgers and Notre Dame in the pigtail game. I think the Tide, whoever they end up going up against, nobody's going to touch them in that first round matchup. Next game that we have, Texas Tech taking on number 14 Montana State. Thank you for coming, Montana State. Nice to see you. Get the fuck out of here. Michigan State going up against Davidson. Like I said, nice to see you. Get out of here. We're getting to the point. Like Michigan State is playing very well at the end of the season. Tom Izzo's getting his guys rolling. So I like the Spartans over Davidson. And then the final matchup in the Western bracket, the 2 seed Duke and Coach K's quote-unquote final run. By the way, thank you, Coach K, for just proving everybody's point that you're an arrogant ass and have no social awareness, no perspective of how people perceive you, because you hush your students trying to cheer you on at your last home game. You call out your players and basically take all of the blame off of yourself for that loss to North Carolina, which you guys were an 11-point favorite. For North Carolina to do what they did to you, it had to come down to a little bit of coaching too. I agree, your team didn't play well, but you didn't coach very well either. Duke is going to beat Cal State Fullerton, though. There's no way that's... I don't think that's going to be a 15-2 upset. I would love it. I would love it, except I think that it would give us another season of Coach K, and I would not love that. So I have Duke as my last winner in the West bracket. Moving on to the East, Baylor, the 1 seed, taking on Norfolk State. Norfolk State, actually, if you remember last season, or last March Madness tournament, they were one of the pigtail matchups. And now they're a true 16 seed in the Eastern bracket. Baylor's going to walk right over them. North Carolina, Marquette, 8-9. I went with Marquette. I think I'm not fooled by North Carolina's performance against Duke. North Carolina loves to ruin quote-unquote big moments for Duke. That's what they do. They love winning the most famous players' senior nights. They love winning the final games of coaches' careers. North Carolina, I don't have very much confidence that they're not set up for a tournament run this season. So I think Marquette's going to bounce them in the first round. You have St. Mary's, who knocked off, was the first WCC team, I think, in 2 seasons to beat Gonzaga. Ever since even before the COVID shutdown, I think was the last time Gonzaga had lost to a WCC school, and St. Mary's was that team. They're going to be playing the winner of Wyoming and Indiana. Wyoming, a bubble team, obviously, getting out of the Mountain West tournament, but not finishing high enough. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. Between CU, CSU, and Wyoming, somebody was going to have to win their conference tournament to be able to make it onto the actual bracket, and CSU was the team that did it. CU, not in the tournament. They're probably going to be in the NIT, I would assume, and Wyoming is going to be a play-in tournament, or a play-in team, and then you get to meet the 5 seed in St. Mary's. It's not an unwinnable game, but it's just not likely. UCLA, coming off their run last year out of the Pac-12, number 4 seed in the East, going up against Akron, who's the number 13. I picked UCLA. I don't know if they're going to have a similar run as they did last year, but damn, they have a lot of those guys that went on that run back. So it's not like they're lacking in any kind of experience, and that makes you a little bit nervous to pick against them, or at least it makes me a little bit nervous to pick against them. Texas, the 6th seed, going up against Virginia Tech. I want to say an upset's going to happen here. Then I think that I'm just hoping. So I'm going to go with the smart play, and I picked the Longhorns. Purdue versus Yale in the 3 and 14. The Boilermakers, they're lucky that they had their come-to-Jesus moment before the end of the season and even before the conference tournament. They didn't end up winning the regular season Big Ten championship. I don't think that they won the Big Ten championship tournament. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the YouTube comments after you subscribe and leave a like on the video, and then tell me how much of a dumbass I am. But Purdue, I think, got woken back up. They understand that they can lose at any point, and Yale, nice coming out. Good job that you made the tournament. Now go back home. You guys got finals to study for, right? You got midterms, something? A test. I know you got a test coming up. Murray State, the number 7, taking on San Francisco, the number 10 in the East. I picked Murray State because I know more about Murray State. San Francisco, I feel like they're fighting out of their weight class a little bit. Not quite, not too much, but just a little bit. Kentucky is the 2 in the East, and they're going up against St. Peter's, and obviously I'm going with the Wildcats. So that's my picks for the East bracket. Going on to the South, this is where we have former number 1 overall team in the country. I believe they're probably the number 1 overall, number 1 seed. Arizona, the Wildcats are going to take on the winner of, I'm not sure who that would be. Well, look at me, not doing proper research. WRST, or it doesn't matter. I don't think Arizona, they had the bad first round upset a few years ago. They're not going to get upset as number 1 seed against 2 teams that I can't even figure out their acronym. I'm a sports fan, and I can't even figure out what the acronym is. So Arizona is my pick for the number 1 seed in the South. TCU, versus Seton Hall. I went with the Horned Frogs coming off that big upset over Texas Tech a few weeks ago. I think they're primed and ready to possibly be that UCLA team that you don't expect, but hey, they're here at the Sweet 16 and you're going to have to deal with it. And the Horned Frogs, they have the talent that they could play with anybody. Houston going up against UAB. I went with the Cougars. I think UAB, I'm not too familiar with their basketball team, but I know their football team is getting better. I just assume that they were struggling financially for their athletics for a long time. So they're getting to the point where they're going to be competitive, but they aren't quite there yet. Illinois going up against Chattanooga. Illinois last tournament left a bitter taste in your mouth, so you're going to come out firing in all cylinders and blow Chattanooga out of the water in the first round. So I got the Illini in that matchup. Colorado State going up against 11 seed Michigan. Michigan only on the actual bracket. They should be a play-in team. Only on the actual bracket because Juwan Howard would have slapped the selection committee in the face. And it's Michigan, so you're going to get eyeball recognition. Good thing because CSU is going to pound the Wolverines in that matchup. I think that's going to be a big win for CSU in their program's history. Tennessee going up against the 14 seed Longwood. It's Volunteers all day. I don't want to hear about it. Ohio State going up against Loyola Chicago. This is where I'm going to lose some people. I picked the upset. I didn't go with a lot of upsets. I picked a lot of chalk this time, or like 8-9 upsets. But I think as a 10 seed, Loyola Chicago knows how to make tournament games difficult. When you have this one and done style, if a team comes out and they're playing in a way that you never practiced for, and you're going out there, think about it, all these 18-year-olds that are going to be one and dones at Illinois. I don't know, or at Ohio State. I don't know if there are many, but just imagine with me here. And then Loyola Chicago comes out and they're playing a style that you've never seen, and you have to win this game or you don't move on. And all of a sudden you look up at the end of the game and it's like 48-46 Loyola Chicago. Tell me that doesn't sound outside of the realm of possibility. I picked Loyola Chicago in that matchup. Villanova, Delaware, not a big upset there. I think Villanova's going to go on a run. I have Villanova going deep. That's my picks for the South bracket. And then moving on to the Midwest bracket, Kansas, the number 1 seed. They're going to beat whoever wins their play-in game. Creighton, I picked Creighton to go on a little bit of a run. I don't trust San Diego State. San Diego State always seems to have something lacking in just championship drive in all of their sports. And Creighton did make a little bit of noise last season. They got some athletes, so I like the Blue Jays in that one. Iowa versus Richmond. This is normally where I'd go with a 12-5. Iowa, though, they're co-Big Ten regular season champions, so they're not terrible. They don't got a guy like Garza last year where you got to key in on them, so everybody plays well. If they get on a little bit of a roll here, I can see them beating Richmond pretty easily. And Richmond is not one of those lower mid-America, mid-tier conference teams that are dominant. So Iowa, I think, takes care of Richmond. Providence takes on South Dakota State. I think Providence is going to get past the Jackrabbits. South Dakota State making another appearance in the March Madness tournament. That's a program that's really turning themselves around. They do a lot of good things in the wrestling tournament as well. And they were in the Final Four of the FCS college football playoffs. So South Dakota State turning themselves into an athletic powerhouse. LSU, the 6th seed, going up against Iowa State. I think LSU's athletes are going to out-athlete Iowa State in that matchup. Big 12 basketball is not what it used to be outside of Texas Tech and Baylor. Wisconsin going up against Colgate. I picked the Badgers, the co-Big Ten Conference champions, regular season champions, and the 3 seed in this bracket, Colgate. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming out. Another 10-7 upset. I picked Miami over USC. I don't trust the Trojans in anything. I don't trust any Pac-12 school. So I'm not the Pac-12 champion. That's Nico. Nico's not coming back yet. So you guys got to listen to me smash them. Auburn is the final matchup in this bracket and the final matchup of the first round, going up against 15 seed Jacksonville State. I have the Tigers going very, very deep in this tournament, which brings me to my next prediction, the Final Four. Coming out of the East-West matchup, I have the Texas Tech Red Raiders going up against the Baylor Bears, a Big 12 grudge match. Who's going to make it to the championship this season? 2 teams that have both been in the championship game in the past 2 seasons. Remember that, or you can count it 2 seasons, but it's been 3 calendar years. But Texas Tech, remember, lost to Virginia that season, so The Red Raiders going up against Baylor. My other matchup, the South and the Midwest, Villanova versus Auburn, two number 2 seeds. And I have my championship matchup as Texas Tech versus Auburn. And I have Texas Tech coming away the winner 79-42. I don't have a tried and true reason for that. That's just kind of what I want to happen. And that's the way that I filled out my bracket. So you guys now know what you're going up against with me, at least. You can't see anybody else's picks until picks are locked in. But be sure, sign up at the links that I told you, pinned at FEOTBpod on Twitter, in our bio on Instagram at FEOTBpod as well. Got to follow all of our social media pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel, sign up into our group using that link, and then make your picks and see who's going to come away with that extra $150. I know everybody can kind of use extra money right now, and competing against people is always fun. So when Nico comes back, we'll be talking plenty about March Madness moving forward. But games start Thursday night, so if you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully I don't sound too stupid. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, get in on the action, get in that competition. There's about 35 or so people in it so far. The more the merrier. Always, you get to submit one bracket, but that one bracket could win you extra money, and everything like that. So enjoy the beginning of March Madness. It's always a great sporting weekend. We're in the middle of March, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's almost like yesterday that the Super Bowl ended, but we're moving right along into everything going on, and the MLB lockout actually ended. So we got plenty of stuff to talk about moving forward. But that's going to be the end of the week 4 of the Riding the Pine series here on the Far End of the Bench podcast. I mentioned it a few times. Follow us on our social medias at FEOTBpod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Far End of the Bench. Ring the notification bell. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Wherever you listen to podcasts, our new episodes drop Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. We just got a new review in, so be sure to give you a shout out when Nico comes back to the show. And we'll be debuting some new stuff when Nico comes back too. So there's a lot of exciting news coming up. By the way, thank you guys for your reaction to the Will Lytle interview. That's been doing great over on our YouTube channel. Interview with an NFL draft prospect. He's going to be competing at the CSU Pueblo Pro Day coming up here soon, and trying to make his way into the NFL. So go check out the interview that we have with him, either on our podcast feed or on our YouTube channel. But big shout out to Will, and wish him nothing but the best in the NFL. Thank you everybody for checking that one out.